My name is Germana Ravanelli. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, a mind-body healer, a personal trainer, a nutritional therapist. I was taught that health is harmonizing the body, the mind, and the spirit. Hello, thank you so much for opening up this video. My name is Germana Ravanelli. I come to you from Nanaimo, BC. I have a background in holistic healing, body, mind, spirit work, primarily through the physical body, which is where our intelligence lies, the emotional body, which is honoring the energy inside, and spiritual energy, which is listening to our intuition, having a wellness practice, and also, believing that we matter. This video is one of 3 on developing self-love. This is the second one. And I'm sharing that as a topic because I think that's one of the things that a lot of us gets stuck. We're like, well, if I can get you to love me, I'm okay. And great. But if that other person leaves, if they die, if something happens and you guys have a disagreement, then that connection will cause huge suffering. And I'm just going to gently plug my book. It's called The Road to Transformation. It's about healing generational trauma. It is found on Amazon if you're interested. It is a pretty hard to read book. It talks a lot about how we repeat our unresolved issues. We repeat what our parents installed in us. And most people, when I say, I'm a hypnotherapist, they go, I can't be hypnotized. I'm like, you have been hypnotized since conception until about 8. That's actually where you make all your decisions from. And they're just like, huh? I said, whatever you have learned about yourself and your value or your worth, unless you have claimed it and designed it for yourself, it's someone else's opinion. And it's usually our parents' opinion. If our parents had trauma, if they had addiction, if they had all these other things and they didn't deal with it. My parents didn't come from a generation of healing it. We absorb their nervous system's charge. So we end up absorbing, if there's been sexual abuse and it's never been dealt with, then usually the children end up being sexually abused, or they have some story about no boundaries with sexuality, feeling dirty, feeling shamed, not allowed to have pleasure, like all of these things. We absorb it because we're a sponge when we're a child till about 8. After that, we unfortunately, like a robot, kind of repeat it. And so this was about going, what the hell is the matter with me? Why do I have these feelings? Why have I let these people treated me so poorly? Why have I treated myself so poorly? And I woke up from the trance of trauma and then started to heal it. And it's been granular. And some days I still have, work to do. And the whole piece about developing self-love is recognizing that, and this is going to sound silly, I hope it doesn't, when you look at nature and you look at the ocean and you look at a whale or you look at a dog or you look at a flower or you look at, a baby, it's undeniable that it's beautiful and perfect and designed by something greater than our mind. We are the same. We come from the same source of power. And yet most of us are kind of plunked into this earth dimension. I call it earth school. They call it earthbound amnesia. When you incarnate, you forget what you know. You forget how powerful you are, and you kind of kerplunk in. And then to develop your ability to grow and heal and come out of those layers of trances requires the ability to decide that you're worth taking care of, the ability to decide that you're worth rescuing, and to learn how to have a practice of emotional nurturing, which I call self-love. We can't heal if we don't feel safe. And people like me and people that are in different recovery communities usually end up in there because they've been in a tremendous amount of pain that they've normalized. And then they use, whether it's food, gambling, sex, drugs, alcohol, worrying, as a way to try to disassociate from the body. And you can't really get away from the body. The body is your temple. It is where you hold all of your thoughts, your emotions, your deeds. So developing self-love is I call it my contribution to world peace. I'm not hurting myself anymore. I'm not lying to myself anymore. I'm not betraying myself. And that allows me to be of service in a loving capacity to other people. And if I know I'm not doing well, simply don't engage. And that's pretty intelligent, but some people don't. They have to get out there and swing that bat and cause more damage. And whatever we do to other people, this is kind of intense. We have to, they call it atone, but we end up having to feel that. So if you are mean to someone and you spit in them at their face and you tell them they're garbage and all the rest of it, and you think you're so great, later on, when you slip away into the other side, you will have to then feel what you did to all the people that you reached or abandoned or ignored. You will have to feel the pain that you gave them, which is interesting. Most people don't understand there is something called karma. So when you are kind and gentle, the person that you're actually really rescuing is yourself, which sounds bizarre. So why would we do this? It makes our life better. Why would you decide that you're worth loving? Because you are. Why would you decide that it's okay for you to protect yourself from the toxic parts of this planet? Because if you don't, then you will actually cause yourself more pain. And there's an old saying that what do you get when you cut into an orange? Orange juice. What do you get when you cut into someone who's toxic and angry and frightened like a dog? You're going to get spewed. They're going to attack you. And that doesn't mean that what they did is good. It just tells you where they're at, and not taking it on is really, really important. So when would you do this? Ideally, you would have a morning practice. Ideally, you would have a self-check-in. Am I hungry? Feed yourself real food. Am I angry? What's going on? What does my body need? What do I need to do? Am I lonely? How can you connect with nature, or how can you connect with somebody, maybe yourself, in a kind way that you can see that you matter, that your needs matter? Are you tired? And a lot of people are burnt right out, particularly women over 35. They're just, their hormones are gone, and, they're tired and they don't know why. And they think if they eat more sugar, have more coffee, have another Red Bull, have more something, that they can just kind of whip themselves into keep moving. And eventually what happens is they have a breakdown, and that's their body crying, please take care of me. And, I've been in my industry for well over 30 years. And I decided that I was going to do everything I could to give myself what, number one, my parents could not. And I was going to give myself everything that my poor coping mechanisms robbed me of. I lost my dignity. I lost my identity. I lost my sense of being valued, seen, wanted, having any meaning. And so one of the commitments I promised to my little girl was I was going to learn how to love me. And then that's basically what I love to teach people. I'll ask them, is this behavior loving? Is this good for you? How does it feel after you do it? Like most people go, I just want to feel good now. And I will say, well, play the movie out the next day. How would you feel about that? 90 seconds later, how would you feel? A week later, how would you feel if you looked back? And some people, then they kind of go, oh, this is probably not a great idea. And so how we do it is unique to each one of us. Asking for someone to hold space for you and maybe listen to you and not judge you while you unpack what your mind's telling you is an act of love. Having a fresh bed to me is an act of love. Having fresh sheets is an act of love. Buying real food is an act of love. Exercising is an act of love. I don't do exercise so I look good. I do it because I feel good, sometimes while I'm doing it, but I'll play the movie forward. How do you feel afterwards? Amazing, you did it. And also removing things from your home that when you look at them, it feels like this ick. You remove it. It doesn't make you feel good. There's a book called Joy, and you touch something, and if this brings you joy, you keep it. And if it stops bringing you joy, that means it's draining part of your joy, and you could give it away. You could sell it. You could throw it away. Those are little micro self-love practices. I think one of the most important things is to not take your thinking so seriously. I've done years and years and years of meditation and inner work. One of the therapists that I've seen, he's quite funny, but I said to him, I've done enough therapy to turn a donkey into a unicorn. And he said to me, people that have been through what you've been through don't make it. How did you do this? I was taught how to reprogram the subconscious mind. And then, obviously I do that in my practice, and I do it also in my training service, because when people take care of themselves, that's an investment in your wellness. I call it the long game. And you want to do stuff for the long game, because instant gratification is deadly. When we do just for now, we actually usually leave, a wreckage of damage that later we're like, I don't want to face my life. So thinking like, how would I feel in 30 days doing this? If I did this now and I did this every second day for 30 days, how would I feel? One of the other things that I love is, if you became a butler today for your future self's dopamine hits, so that's feeling good in code, what would you do so your future self would be happy? That's actually really great, because it's not overthinking, and you're looking into the future thinking, what would make me happy? Would it be a cleaned out closet? Would it be a clean car? Would it be to have my bills managed? Would it be to, shed 5 pounds? Would it be to tell my son or my daughter how much I love them? Remember that when you talk to someone and you are authentic and genuine and kind, that's fuel. And if you come in there and you go, me, you're actually hurting them. And you're hurting yourself, because whatever we give out comes back like a boomerang. You can apply this to any area of your life, your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, your growth, your ability to receive. I think receiving is one of the highest acts of love. And I won't lie to you, that's been the hardest one for me, because I was taught that if anyone did something nice for me, I had to give them something back, that I owed them something. So I was always like very guarded. And I'm at this point in my life, I'm learning to really receive. And I'll probably teach some practices on that. But letting yourself emotionally receive is the highest act of self-love. And that's like you giving to you, saying, I matter. I'm proud of you. You're doing a good job. Those are acts of self-love, not, aborting that and auctioning it off for someone else to go, good job. Well, if that person doesn't feel good about themselves and they're jealous of you, they're going to shit all over it. And they're going to find something to criticize, and you're going to be hurt. Instead of looking at them going, man, I'm really sorry you're in that level of pain. You're not able to celebrate this part of my life. It's like a flower in a garden. And you are someone that can take the weeds out, negative thoughts, plant new seeds. I'm lovable. I'm worth caring for. I matter. And that works when it goes in the subconscious. If it's just conscious, it doesn't work. The blackberry bushes, the fear will come in and overtake it. I hope I've given you some inspiration. If you like what you've seen, I hope you do. I'm going to ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and maybe send me your email address so I could add you to my email list when I'm doing some self-love experiential mini retreats. I'm doing some meditation courses, emotional mastery, which is all about healing our relationship with ourselves. And I'm going to thank you, and I'm going to give this one more plug. If you know of anyone that's suffering, whether they've been in an abusive relationship, what happens, we get rid of the abusers, we take over. And that's where the self-love needs to come back, reprogramming ourselves. Please feel invited to share if you have a comment, if you're curious, if you're struggling with not getting your life on track and you want some direction, always feel invited to reach out to me. Thank you from Nanaimo, BC.